and welcome to PraDa Law Live. I'm Jackie Mendez. I'm your host for today's show. Happy Monday. I hope you've had a great week. Well, I hope you're going to have a great week. I hope you had a great weekend. Today we're going to be talking finance. We're going to be talking a little bankruptcy. And before I introduce our attorneys, our partners here at PraDa Law, I want to remind everyone of that number on the screen, 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number you want to call for your free consultation. Please give us a call. We have offices in Miami, in Doral. Let's get right into the conversation. Let's go ahead and introduce our attorneys. Alexis Garcia.
Thank you, Jackie. Hello, everyone, and good evening.
Of course, Jennifer Pratt.
Thank you, Jackie. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here this Monday.
And Yoel Damas.
Thank you, Jackie. It's a pleasure to be with everyone again this week.
Once again, 888-88-LEGAL. Give us a call. Also, follow us on YouTube. Give us a like. Give us a share. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from anyone that you guys can recommend to us as well.
That's right, Jackie. That's right. Thank you, Jackie, for that great introduction. And if that's right. If you're watching us on social media, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or any other platform, make sure you share this show. Take the moment to just hit that share button. Reason is, you might not be going through an issue today, but the truth is somebody else might. And just sharing this show, which is a free show with a free number to call, may change somebody's life, may actually help them tremendously. In the meantime, like Jackie says, 888-88-LEGAL. And welcome to Monday. We're here to start the week off like we always do every Monday, talking financial news, talking bankruptcy, and talking loan modifications and other financial matters. Right before the show, I was talking to Attorney Garcia and Attorney Pratt, and we were discussing what's coming into the office. And I'd like to spend some time, especially on Mondays, talking about what kind of movement we're seeing, kind of like the pulse on what's happening in the industry, because a lot of people are shy, they're scared, they're intimidated to call an attorney. And, we hope that by sharing these stories and sharing different situations, you're able to put yourself in these same shoes and tell yourself, it's okay. We're all going through hard times right now. COVID has been real, the economy's been badly hurt, and it's a way to move forward. Attorney Garcia and Attorney Pratt, and we could talk a little bit about that. The people walking in now are not necessarily in as bad shape as they were back in the last financial crisis that we were all somehow involved in, right?
Well, I mean, they're in bad shape, clearly, but it's a very different group. Like you were touching upon the pulse of it. It's individuals who were professionals, who had higher paying jobs, and who now with COVID have a reduction in their income. They have their 401ks and they have pensions, they have all these things. And what I'm seeing a big mistake a lot of clients making is cashing out 401ks and then coming to see us after once the 401k is now in a bank account.
Do not touch the 401k.
Do not touch your 401ks. Please don't touch them, because a 401k is protected. You can stop paying your credit card debt and you can have $150,000 sitting in your 401k and nothing's gonna happen to that. It's protected. You don't have to pay your credit cards if you can't, and you have no obligation to touch that money to pay those credit cards. As soon as you start dipping into that money and you commingle it with your typical bank account where your everyday funds are, you're gonna have a huge problem. So please don't do that. Use a consultation, call us, and we can guide you.
Good to know, Attorney Garcia. Thank you so much. Once again, 888-88-LEGAL. Give us a call. The consultation is free.
So, Attorney Garcia, just to flush this out a little bit, during the last crisis, and again, so if you have $0 in your bank account, come see us. Even more reason to come see us. Right. But one of the differences, if I'm understanding you correctly, between the last crisis and this crisis is that a lot of people, or the majority of the people that were coming to the office and you were filing bankruptcy for during the last crisis, they were already with no money.
No money.
No savings, no nothing.
Savings, years of problems with their mortgage and rent, and you'd look through a year of their bank account, so there was nothing going on. Now it's a little different, okay? Now you see a lot of these individuals that they have money in their accounts, and because they were doing fine pre-COVID, it was like they just hit this wall, So they have funds in their account and they're panicked because, yeah, it may seem like there's money there, but that's not enough to get them through 3 or 4 more months. That's not enough to get them through the rest of the year next year, because they don't know where their job is. Their hours have been cut, they're furloughed. They don't know if they're gonna get their job back. So they are in a bad place, but their bank accounts may not be reflecting it yet. So we're seeing that change in things now.
So Attorney Pratt, if I'm understanding Attorney Garcia correctly, basically the individual is coming in today, not like the 2008 crisis, and again, I know you were an attorney through that period for another firm as well, and you lived through this. It's a different, I don't want to use the word caliber, but a different group where they're not necessarily completely broke, but to them they feel broke. They feel that they can't go forward.
Absolutely, you hit it. That's exactly how they feel. To the old crowd of bankruptcy, you're not broke, but to them they are, because that money's not going to get them through their living expenses. They're at a different caliber with their living expenses.
So it's not your typical bankruptcy person, right, Attorney Pratt?
Right, and I think we have to go back to what you said at the beginning of the show, which was, you never know who this is affecting and who this program or this information can help, because I think this is exactly sort of the target area that's happening right now, is that this is happening to professionals, people who made six figures or more prior to COVID. And while perhaps for your, average blue collar worker, let's say somebody that makes $40,000-$50,000 a year, that may sound like a very good income for that person, and by no means is that minimum wage. If those individuals are used to making $150,000, $180,000, $200,000, and now they're making $50,000, and let's not forget their bills are probably still, $125,000, because once you are used to a certain lifestyle, that's the lifestyle you usually live, most of us, then yeah, these individuals are freaking out. I don't know how else to say it. They're just literally freaking out.
Right. Thank you so much, Attorney Pratt. Once again, 888-88-LEGAL. Give us a call. The consultation is free. So
the truth is, Attorney Pratt, or Attorney Garcia, these individuals coming in today is not your typical, and again, I probably sound repetitive, your typical person that has no money in the bank. The truth is that they have assets, and they have assets to protect, and that's really a big part of filing a bankruptcy.
These individuals have probably never filed bankruptcy before. They probably never thought they would end up filing for bankruptcy. They're extremely embarrassed, they're timid, they're concerned, and they're very, very worried, because they don't know all the great things that a bankruptcy can still protect, even in a bankruptcy.
Ladies and gentlemen, obviously every case is different, but bankruptcy is a tool to get you through to your next phase without losing it all. And this goes for a high net worth individual as much as every other person. We got a lot more information in today's show. Production saying we got to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
I know you're home right now asking yourself, how? How will I pay my rent, my mortgage, my bills, my credit card debt? I'm attorney Alexis Garcia with PraDa Law. I've personally helped people with financial problems over the last 10 years. I understand what you are going through. We saw people lose it all in the 2008 financial crisis. You don't have to lose it all. The consultation is free. Call us now. I will help protect what you have built. You have nothing to lose by calling us. Call us now. These are trying times. This deadly virus is affecting our health, economy, jobs, our small business owners. Bankruptcy protection may be able to save assets and immediately stop your creditors from harassing you. Small business owners, employees of business of any size, we know you need help. Call us now. We will help you get back on your feet. Don't wait until it's too late. This is the time to call.
Sé que estás en la casa ahora mismo preguntándote, ¿cómo voy a pagar la hipoteca, la renta, los biles, las tarjetas de crédito? Soy la abogada Jennifer Pratt con PraDa Law. Yo personalmente he ayudado a las personas con problemas financieros durante los últimos 10 años. Yo entiendo por lo que estás pasando. Vimos cómo la gente lo perdió todo durante la crisis financiera de 2008. No tienes que perderlo todo. Llama ahora. La consulta es gratis. Te ayudaremos a proteger todo lo que has construido durante todos estos años.
Sabemos que estos son tiempos difíciles. Este virus mortal está amenazando nuestra salud, nuestra economía, nuestros empleos y a los propietarios de nuestras pequeñas empresas. La consulta es gratis. Llame ahora. Te ayudaremos a recuperarte. No esperes hasta que sea demasiado tarde. Llame ya.
Hello and welcome back to PraDa Law Live. Once again, I'm Jackie Mendez. I'm your host for today's show. We've been talking finances, we've been talking bankruptcy. We want to get right back into the conversation. And before we do, we want to remind you this is a live show. You can call it anytime. The number's on the screen, 888-88-LEGAL, or give us a call because your consultation will be free. We have some solutions for you.
So right over the break, I was talking to Attorney Garcia and Attorney Pratt, and we were discussing specific cases that maybe we could talk about on the show. And the answer is that they told me, each of them gave me one case each that we shouldn't discuss on the show. So since it's Monday and we want to spice this up a little bit because we're all half asleep, right? I'm going to go ahead and ask them about these. So what Attorney Garcia told me, don't ask me that. I'm going to ask her and see what happens. So one of these clients that we're talking about, and again, we always talk about 401k being protected. Right. Doesn't matter if they have $1 million in there, right? And Homestead is protected. Right. But some of these clients, which again is not typical, are coming in with actual money in the bank, right? And even with money in the bank, they feel broke, right? But there's solutions, right? I mean, as long as it's legal and as long as it's ethical, and every case is different. But the answer is it's about structure, right?
It is about restructuring, and it is about solutions. And now, some of these individuals have money in the bank just because they've been holding off on their spending and changing their spending to account for the fact that their hours have changed and they may not have as much income. So they're holding on for their expenses in the future because they don't know what's happening with COVID, okay? So the solution to that would be, okay, well, use your money to live. You pay your living expenses. Stop. There's nothing. Stop taking the forbearance. Number one, a forbearance is good. So if you're holding the money because you don't know what's going to happen, pay your mortgage. The worst thing you can do is lose your house. So don't hold that money in the bank because you're not paying your mortgage.
Ultimately, they want to keep their house anyway.
Right. Exactly. So that's kind of counterintuitive. I'm going to hold on to this and not pay my mortgage, and I don't know what's going to happen with the forbearance.
Forbearance that you owe 4 months on.
Right.
Yet you have 17 grand in the bank, but you want to keep the house.
Pay your 4 months before you file, you know. The car, people are doing the same thing with their vehicles. Pay your cars, you need those. So as Attorney Damas is saying, yes, there are solutions to these things, and you can go ahead and do that. And there's things you shouldn't do. I mean, I can get into what not to do too. I mean, we can.
I mean, Attorney Garcia is a sport because again, she says, look, the last thing I want is a bunch of people calling us saying, hey, I have 100 grand in the bank. How should I use this money?
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's not what we're here for, right? But we are here to help you navigate things ethically and legally.
Right.
And the truth is that a lot of times you're out there making decisions without information.
Right.
So here's a perfect example. 17 grand in the bank, hasn't paid the house in 4 months.
Pay your house.
Pay your house.
Pay your house. Exactly. That's a debt that you're expected to pay, you're allowed to pay, and you should be paying. Things you shouldn't do. Don't pay back your family members and friends when you have this money, okay? What you need to understand about the bankruptcy code, all your creditors are the same. Discover Bank and your mother are equal in the eyes of the code, okay? So if you have some money in your bank account...
Wait. Discover's the same thing as the woman that gave birth to you?
Yes, the bankruptcy code, 100% absolutely. There's no difference between the two of them as a creditor. Zero, okay? So you're hurting your case by repaying...
Bankruptcy says Discover is as important as you.
Your uncle, your neighbor, whoever you want it to be. You know, so you don't want to get caught in a preference, you know, before you file bankruptcy. A preference is treating one creditor different than another. So you really don't want to get involved with that. But I mean, your house, your car, you're behind on your insurance. Those are things that are vital and that are necessary and you're expected to pay.
Attorney Garcia, it's about structure. I'm sorry, Attorney Pratt.
So you're saying to pay the living expenses.
Yes,
you were talking about things not to do. You're saying,
not to do, you know. Don't go buy, I hope people are, you know, jewelry that they wanted or, you know, things like that.
I'll tell you what.
You'd be surprised.
I don't mean to correct you guys, but this would be my advice. If you're not paying already, don't just start paying because you watch the show.
Right.
Call us.
Right.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Attorney Damas, that's exactly right. It's just like with divorce cases. I know I've talked about it on the family law case, like shows. You know, there are people that come to us sometimes a year in advance. It's not common, and I don't know why, quite frankly, but that come to us a year in advance to start prepping their divorce, to start strategizing, because the law to me is like chess. It's like, you know, your next move is as good as your last one. Like, you have to be on top of everything.
Even though that's great advice to plan ahead, that's actually the right thing to do. I would hate to be married to that woman.
Yeah, how do you plan your divorce? How do you go to sleep at night knowing I was with my divorce attorney? That's crazy.
You'd be surprised.
Well, we do have a question from Juan from Kendall, Florida, asking, what's the average, Attorney Garcia, what's the average amount that you should have in your bank account? before you can, file for bankruptcy? And obviously not 17,000, but what is it, like a mark of 5,000?
Well, it depends whether you own a homestead or not. Your exemptions change depending on your homestead. So again, my advice, since every case is so different because it depends on the types of funds in the account as well, call us, let us know what you're working with, let us guide you, and let us help be your attorneys for this process.
So during this segment, I put Attorney Garcia on the spot, and I wasn't able to put Attorney Pratt on the spot.
Next segment.
But next segment, right after this break, I promise you I'm going to ask her about a question about a client that she told me, don't talk to me about that on the air. Why not? It's Monday. We want to wake up. Hope you guys are listening. Share this program. Dial that number, 888-88-LEGAL. We'll be right back.
I know you're home right now asking yourself, how? How will I pay my rent, my mortgage, my bills, my credit card debt? I'm attorney Alexis Garcia with PraDa Law. I've personally helped people with financial problems over the last 10 years. I understand what you are going through. We saw people lose it all in the 2008 financial crisis. You don't have to lose it all. The consultation is free. Call us now. I will help protect what you have built. You have nothing to lose by calling us. Call us now. These are trying times. This deadly virus is affecting our health, economy, jobs, our small business owners. Bankruptcy protection may be able to save assets and immediately stop your creditors from harassing you. Small business owners, employees of business of any size, we know you need help. Call us now. We will help you get back on your feet. Don't wait until it's too late. This is the time to call.
Sé que estás en la casa ahora mismo preguntándote, ¿cómo? ¿Cómo voy a pagar la hipoteca, la renta, los biles, las tarjetas de crédito? Soy la abogada Jennifer Pratt con PraDa Law. Yo personalmente he ayudado a las personas con problemas financieros durante los últimos 10 años. Yo entiendo por lo que estás pasando. Vimos cómo la gente lo perdió todo durante la crisis financiera del 2008. No tienes que perderlo todo. Llama ahora. La consulta es gratis. Te ayudaremos a proteger todo lo que has construido durante todos estos años. Sabemos que estos son tiempos difíciles. Este virus mortal está amenazando nuestra salud, nuestra economía, nuestros empleos y a los propietarios de nuestras pequeñas empresas. La consulta es gratis. Llame ahora. Te ayudaremos a recuperarte. No esperes hasta que sea demasiado tarde. Llame ya.
And welcome back to PraDa Law Live. Once again, I'm Jackie Mendez. Let's get right back into the conversation. Before we do, want to remind you of that number, 888-88-LEGAL. We've been talking finance. We've been talking bankruptcy. A couple interesting convos, so let's go ahead and put Pratt on the spot.
Pratt's on the spot.
Pratt's on the spot.
I thought you guys would have forgotten by now.
It was just a 2-minute break.
Sorry, it's Monday.
It felt like forever.
So, Attorney Pratt, we were discussing a client during the break, and you told me, a few clients, but you told me, don't bring this one up, so I'm going to bring that one up.
Of course.
So the answer is, the question is, we've talked about, it's Monday, man, it's Monday, it's Monday.
I'm trying to deflect, and hopefully the time will go away.
Yeah, no, she's great, Hire her as your attorney. So, these
You don't
individuals.
even have the question anymore. I love it.
You're killing me, woman. You're killing me. So these individuals that are coming in more and more, we're seeing where they actually have quite a bit of decent finances, right? And they're not necessarily the client that was coming in, again, in 2008, because we were all around at that time, and we were seeing people just come in dead, no money. Right. The answer is, you're seeing billionaires. No, you're seeing millionaires come in the door, right?
Yeah,
literally,
absolutely.
people with millions of dollars that today can't afford their house, right? And again, I know this is not something we want to talk about because we want to talk about the average person, but I want the average person to understand that it's happening to even people of well-to-do means.
Right. And we've talked about this when we talked, for months now about, for example, the corporations that have filed bankruptcy. But I think sometimes people may say, well, that's a corporation, it's not. So hopefully if you're hearing these stories about individuals, real life people that walk right next to you at the gas station, at the supermarket, that you may not know, that are, very big business people, men, women. I have this case that you're referring to. It's a female entrepreneur for many years, made a lot of money and I mean millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars, and now has seen herself in a situation where, with a lot of her money, like a lot of people with money, she bought real estate and she rented out the properties. And what's happening right now? No one's paying rent. And so little by little, in conjunction with her regular business going literally out of business, she now finds herself with all these properties that she can't pay the mortgage. And they're now being put in foreclosures. And that's another misconception that a lot of people think, is that these properties are not being placed in foreclosures. Yes, they are. They certainly are. And now with COVID, the income is down, no rental income, and now this individual, this person, has a couple of multi-million-dollar properties in foreclosures. Lenders are going to be very aggressive because there's plenty of equity and it is certainly worth taking from her.
Now, you're saying the second property she's come in for, right?
So she came to us originally with an investment property, which was the one that she couldn't rent. And right in the middle of COVID, she wanted me to try to evict her tenants. I explained to her that at the time I couldn't. Things have changed, but thankfully the tenant eventually left. We're still working out a deal/sale, something with the first home, the investment home. Now, last week she came. Her homestead now is also in foreclosure because again, it's a domino effect, Attorney Damas. When this tenant didn't pay and this didn't pay and this didn't pay, now boom, now her home, she hasn't been able to pay the mortgage and they placed her in foreclosure.
Wow, thank you so much, Attorney Pratt. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a similar situation right now happening during this time here in COVID, give us a call, 888-88-legal.
And I know that last week we touched briefly on that call that I got, that message that I got about short sales. Her plan is to sell her homestead. That's what she'd like to do. And we discussed, like, if it was a short sale, and you correct me if I'm wrong, you're actually a real estate guy here. I explained to her that I didn't think it would be, I would think it's a regular sale because it's not being sold for under what the loan is worth. It's a regular sale.
A short sale would mean that there is no equity in the home and that the sale is under the amount owed to the lender.
No, this home has plenty of equity. So that was another question she asked me that I thought was a very good question, was if this property has already been placed in foreclosure, can I still sell it? And I said, at the end of the day, all the bank wants is to get their money. The only thing is going to be just like when you get a loan modification. Once you sell it, you need to let the foreclosure case know. It's not going to go away on its own. You got to let them know, file the appropriate motions, letting the court know that the bank's been paid.
Thank you so much, Attorney Pratt. Once again, 888-88-LEGAL. Give us a call. We have some solutions for you. Offices in Miami and Doral.
Now, this program, we spent a lot of time, which is fine because they need to hear it too, about these individuals coming in with money in the bank, 401ks, millions of dollars in income. You mentioned rentals and that everything has changed. People are coming in, getting served with rental eviction, right?
Absolutely. Last week we had to take a very careful look at the new order, the administrative order or governor's order that he proposed, which is evictions can move forward. The only defense that folks have now is to prevent the eviction from continuing is you have to show that the reason you haven't paid your rent is due to COVID financial loss reasons. I mean, that seems pretty...
But didn't Mayor Jimenez issue, I had a law enforcement buddy send me some type of notification or something from the mayor's office saying, moratorium is over, go evict people, kick them out of their house.
Right, so what I'm talking about is these new filings that are happening now in this post-COVID COVID era, is that if you're a landlord right now, you can file for the eviction, you can file it. However, as a tenant, one of the defenses that you will be able to raise, and one of the only defenses that you'll be able to raise, not the only one, but one of the only ones, is that you didn't pay, not because you didn't want to, but because of COVID. But you have to prove that. And so, I mean, one of the things I would look at is I want your last 3 to 6 months of bank statements. And if I'm seeing activity, if I'm seeing you go to Orlando, if I'm seeing you go on vacation, then you could have paid your rent.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, whether you are a tenant, whether you are a well-to-do individual just stuck in hard times right now because of COVID, it doesn't matter. Don't wait another week. Don't let this week pass you by. It's Monday. Act now. There's plenty of time to get that appointment with the office. That consultation at that appointment is 100% free. You have nothing to lose. Let us get a shot at looking at your finances. There may be solutions for you. We're going to be really honest to you and get straight to the point. All you have to do is dial that number. It's 888-88-LEGAL, 888-88-LEGAL. Have a great week.